Sis,
Mhm.
this was something that you wanted to talk about, and I wanted to talk about it as well. I just
Yeah.
didn't know how I was going to. I knew kind of the larger context. I knew the what is it? The micro, but not the macro. No, I knew the
Mhm.
macro, but not the micro. Right? I
Right.
knew the
Right.
larger context, but not the smaller context. And then you brought it to my attention. We can go here with it, and I was like, say less,
Mhm.
but don't say too much. But say less. We're going to talk about the larger context is the media portrayal and the media's fascination with putting races against each other, right?
Mhm.
We saw it last year, and we talked about it a little bit last year with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese in
Yes.
the national championship game.
Mhm.
It's taken on kind of a larger context now because it was about two individual players, and then it got extended out with an article written in the LA Times about UCLA and LSU.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about not only the sexism, the racism, and just the overall representation of women in sports and this white versus black thing that the media loves to do because that's what's hot for ratings,
Mhm.
especially in sports. So, Angel Reese, star player for LSU. They played against Caitlin Clark and Iowa in the Elite Eight of the women's national tournament.
Mhm.
Caitlin Clark did her thing. She dropped 41 points, 12
Yeah.
assists. She was killing. And Iowa beat LSU to avenge the loss that they had last year in the national championship game. At the end of the game, Angel Reese had a little press conference, and she talked
Mhm.
about how how much hate that she's gotten on social media and things of that nature because she is a braggadocious black female player. I
Yes.
also found out something that made complete sense. She's listed from Baltimore, but
Mhm.
do you know where she actually is really from?
Where?
Randallstown. Do
Okay.
you know about Randallstown?
I mean, I know of it.
So Randallstown, for those people who are not familiar in this DC area, there's a lot of black wealth in the DC area, right? Because we had BET for a long time,
Mhm.
government jobs. There's black, contract work. There's a lot of black wealth. Some of these neighborhoods are black wealth neighborhoods. One of them is Bowie, Maryland. Another one is Randallstown. Randallstown is the affluent black neighborhood outside of Baltimore City.
Yeah.
So she's a little Baltimore City,
Mhm.
but with a little bit of that come up. And that's basically where that flair comes from. But she's been getting a lot of backlash, and she opened her heart to talk about how tough the last year was from the last national championship game where she got real national attention, how much hate that she's got, how many racist comments that she's gotten on social media. And not only
Death
that,
threats.
death threats. And not only that, newspapers, legitimate newspapers are basically writing racist news columns.
Yeah.
So you wanted to specifically talk about that. So I'm going to go ahead and let you address that and your J way.
Well, I'll tell you, just 3 hours ago,
Mm,
CNN
okay.
posted a story, and the
Hmm.
headline is Angel Reese is leaving LSU because she recently announced that she's declaring for the WNBA draft.
Hmm.
Shout out to her and best of luck. I don't think she needs it, but okay.
Yeah, she gonna be all right.
But Angel Reese is leaving LSU. Will her rivalry with Caitlin Clark continue in the WNBA? First of
Yeah.
all, these two young ladies do not have one.
Well, okay. So they
They
do and
don't
they
have
don't
in the way
in
that
the way.
they are. So in the way that they're saying it, how do you know they won't get drafted into the same team?
Well, Caitlin Clark's going to be the number one pick, and so I don't. Angel Reese is not going to be a number one pick,
My
but they
point
could.
is,
They could. Yeah.
they're taking the rivalry out of the arena of what they do, i.e., basketball. They're taking it off the court. And
Hmm.
they're like, will it continue on into this new space? Yeah, they're moving on to a new court, but this is different. This is a professional league. It's different, right? But you don't know where we don't know where they're going to end up.
Well, there's some history in this. So the history in this, and it's how the NBA was actually built, because the NBA was a fledgling league that was almost about to go bankrupt until two players entered in the NBA, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. And they
Hmm.
also played in the national championship game, one of the highest rated national championship games of all time. Because Larry Bird, the hick from French Lick, that was his nickname, y'all. That's not a nickname that gave him. And the Magic Man from Michigan State played each other, right? And then they got
Hmm.
drafted to the Lakers and the Celtics, and they were rivals, right? They played each other in 3 NBA finals. Magic won 2 of them. Larry won one of them, but they dominated the NBA in the 80s. And that brought
Yes.
ratings and all this other type of stuff. So, in one sense, I can see what they're trying to do by putting them against one another, saying that they
Yeah.
are rivals, and hoping that they take the ratings boom, because there was, I think they said 12.3 million households watched that game between
Yes.
Iowa and LSU this past weekend. That was
Yeah.
more than all of one NBA Finals game. It was more than like the ACC. If you like that clip, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to catch up on all of our latest content. Don't forget to hit the notification button when you do subscribe so you can get updated every time we release content. We release content every day, whether it's an actual show or clips from the shows. So go ahead and subscribe, like, comment. Also, don't forget our Patreon page where you can find our Talking Straight-ish and After Hours Uncensored episodes. That's patreon.com/unsolicited perspectives. But once again, thank you again for listening to Unsolicited Perspectives. I'm your host, Bruce Anthony, and I'm going to catch you next time. I'll holla.